happening, my role kind of increased, and I've just been fortunate to work along them with their amazing company, family-owned company, surfers that just love surfing, and they're all aerospace engineers.
Wow,
fascinating.
Yeah.
So what's the next big thing? What should we be looking for? Because we just saw what happened in Korea today with that wave pool. Holy crap! Like that wave garden is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I'm like curious, like what American Wave Machines is cooking up.
Yep. So we got a lot of cool things coming up. Actually, the next thing you'll see is a wave pool that's being built right now in Japan, and that's actually pretty close to having breaking waves. So once they do all the engineering and build the pool, next step, fill the pool, fire on the machine, and test the waves. So that's going to be the next pool that you're going to see. That's in Japan. That could have waves as early as next month.
How big will it be? Will it be the same size as Waco?
Yeah, similar to Waco. From what I know, there's some little tune-ups in the technology, but for the most part, it's going to be just like a Waco in Tokyo. And the exciting part about that, and kind of a silver lining in this whole COVID thing, is that pool, or the Olympics was supposed to take place this summer before the pool was going to be constructed. Now that the Olympics have gotten postponed, we're going to have an operational pool in Tokyo.
No way.
While the Olympics are going on. Now, as far as I know, the Olympics are still going to take place in the ocean, but having that there as a training tool for all these athletes coming in from all around the world is something that we're really excited about.
So this topic is super interesting. Tyler and I were just talking about it, and we've talked about wave pools for a couple of years now, but it seems to me that as that technology, as wave pool technology evolves, a really good use of it, or a potential use for it, and as a competitive surfer, I want to get your opinion on this, would be in the WSL circuit or in a competitive arena where a wave essentially could be standardized so that every athlete in a certain heat is going to get the same kind of wave. There's a consistency. It can be judged in that way. And just a more standardizing of the field of play for athletes. And of course, being inside a controlled environment. I don't really have a distinct opinion on it, but maybe those that run surf comps and have to cancel because of weather, or there could be an evolution just in terms of like judging and competitive surfing within itself, that the wave technology is a better fit for. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm all about that. I think from like a logistics standpoint and also broadcasting standpoint, in order to elevate surfing to that next level, that mainstream level, everything you said is kind of necessary. And wave pools are going to kind of check off all those boxes. We've seen a couple events like at Kelly's pool. We've had some events on our pool, some amateur stuff, like the Rip Curl Grom Search Nationals was held at
Waco. Yeah.
Waco, and I was there. I got to watch it go down, and it kind of opened up my eyes as like the proof of concept. Like in the future, at least mainstream, kind of that like hardcore, highest level surf competition just makes sense that it's going to take place in a wave pool, and I know that everyone's looking.
What's lost? What's lost by taking it out of the ocean?
There's definitely, as a competitor. I think of the strategy. There's a lot less strategy, I guess. So that kind of like jockeying for position, use of priority. Should I let this wave go? Should I let that wave go? Like, just basically looking at the ocean and coming up with a game plan. That's kind of all out the window. And traditionally, as a competitor, that's kind of like 75% of your heat is that game plan going into it based on the ocean. The 25% is how you react there. So that kind of gets completely flipped upside down, and it just comes down to skill, which in any sport, I feel like that's the best guy should be the winner. The best team should win. So as much as it's kind of hard for me to like wrap my head around losing the just like traditional strategy working with the ocean, I think just for sport itself, forget lifestyle, forget like the pureness of surfing, just like the sport of surfing, I think it's awesome.
Tyler?
I think the format would have to change, though. I think how they score and what they do would totally have to be changed to make it, to keep the interest. Because watching the Surf Ranch, come on, like that's really tough for a lot of people, particularly if you don't surf and you're trying to appeal to a non-surf public. That's not, you can't just, if you're not a very like core surfer, hard to tell the difference between Felipe's wave and Gabriel's wave almost, whereas if you put them in Chopu or pipe, like the average schmuck, as Fred Hemmings once said, will understand what it is. Like, oh, they need to get through the wave, inside the wave, come out, and it's really exciting and death defying. I think you'd have to change the format. I've been floating some ideas recently. So here I'm going to float some as a competitive surfer. Let me know what you think of these. All right. So one is, I think what you do is on the wave, they have to, in a session, maybe complete certain maneuvers in that session, and they get judged and scored on those maneuvers. So that one, you have to complete it, and you have to do it to the best of your ability, and everyone has to try to do it.
Figure skating.
Total figure skating model. I think it'd be fascinating to see if they hit that. On Slater's wave, it's like you have to do a wrap, you have to do a tail waft, you have to do a barrel, and like maybe an air or something, like that. Then it's like a little bit more tension when they're on the wave. You're like, oh, are they going to get this? They have to get this, because part of the fun of the surf contest in the ocean is whether the wave's going to show up. Are they going to get it? Oh, he's in position. He has priority. He can block them. There is that chess element that I think many people do enjoy. I mean, it's fucking awesome watching Gabriel Medina fucking just terrorize some of the surfers, I mean, so to me, like that sort of element, or what you do is you video a certain wave, a spot that would have a CT event, and then you have the surfers in the lineup, and there's a big screen behind it, and it shows the lineup, the video, and they can see when the swells are coming. And sometimes it might be a left, sometimes it might be a right, but you have to keep an eye on it so you can kind of play and guess and like have a little bit of tactics to it. And then, of course, there's always surf jousting with the right and left, and you just have them go at it.
I like that. I could see Stab putting on some kind of surf yeah, that's interesting. Especially that the second part where you said kind of adding some kind of random element to it. That can totally be done on some of these wave pools, depending on the technology, where like the operator can kind of, or I guess it's all software, so you could probably just completely randomize it. I never thought about this, but the same way like you would on like a slot machine or something.
Yeah.
Electronic slot machine. It's randomized, and where the surfers go out and waves are just getting fired off, whatever the random.
How great would it be if they had like a slot machine in the lineup? They had to like click or something, and it shows like, you get closeout. No.
Yeah.
How great would that be?
Yeah, that's funny. I never even thought about that, but that.
Here we go. Let's talk to Perfect Swell. Let's do this.
Yeah, that can be done on Perfect Swell. That's for sure.
So I got to ask, I've heard a lot about the playlist kind of philosophy with it. Like you can, create these different waves and almost create like a playlist of waves. Do you have a playlist of waves yet set up for yourself?
Yeah. When we've been doing testing it at Waco, I got to play with it and create some playlists with the engineer, Mikkel, over there. my playlists are kind of boring. I just want to do the air section and get barreled every time. So I'm just air section left, barrel left, air section left, barrel left. But yeah, the playlist thing's pretty cool. You could pretty much just like pick your session, your dream session, and you can program it if you have one of the engineers up there hitting the buttons. God,
that's so
pretty
cool
seeing those guys work, man. They're like mad scientists.
They're musicians, I would say.
Yeah.
I think it's very musical almost. There's a lot of similar elements. There are notes, in the waves. There are these different elements that you can bring to it. I think they're artists almost.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is there a time lag? Like, bring us in for those of us who've never been to Waco. How are they up in a control room, and can you yell to them, or do you chat before if you have your specific desired air, barrel air, whatever it is? Do you have that like chat before, or how does it work?
Yeah, so they call in BSR, they call that tower. It just faces the middle of the wave, the eagle's nest, and they have a microphone, and they're controlling the machine from up there. For the most part, you kind of talk to the controllers and let them know what you want. But when you're out there, you can just kind of like raise your hand, everyone's kind of making up their hand signals like air section, left.
Right.
We'll go on the mic, you want to go left? And then, yeah, you give them a thumbs up. And then just hit one button, slide over to the other side of the pool, and then you can go right or go left, get barrel, whatever. So,
oh, my God.
Yeah, it's pretty
I know.
cool. It's like,
there's something about it that's both amazing and somewhat sacrilege about this controlling of surf. Like I guess it's just being, all three of us are like East Coast surfers, and like we're just victim to the conditions, which usually are like fickle at best, and that's just like what we get. And there's something about being like actually not just getting the like proper wave, but like control, customizing it. It feels like, I don't know, sailing, flying too close to the sun a little bit. But that's the future.
It is definitely weird leading up to it, but then as soon as you go in there and catch your first wave, it's so fun.
It's a nice additive, to surf.
Additive, yeah.
It's not going to replace ocean surfing. Or well, for some people, it might be the only thing they experience, actually. But I think it's like incredible for people like surf, the level of surfing. Like I almost can't even imagine where people can take surfing now. It's already so highly advanced. It feels like, I'm like, where do you take this? And the wave pools are the natural progression to be able to really keep pushing it higher and higher and doing more just higher airs, more technical airs, more technical turns.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's going to be interesting is watching the kids right now that are growing up that are going to have all those tools like at their fingertips. You can already see it. And I don't know what it is, but it seems like the kids click with the wave pool like almost instantly. And maybe it's just having that like kind of clean slate versus a surfer that's spent their whole life trying to read waves, surfing a wave, and dissecting it as it's happening. These kids just kind of go into it blind like it's a mini ramp at a skate park, and like seeing how quickly the kids are progressing even more than like the veteran pros. It just makes you wonder like what they're going to look like having this from start to finish in their careers. And like you said, the progression is just going to be insane. It already is. The
muscle memory that we have is our hindrance and our strength, right? It works in the ocean, but when we go into a wave pool and you have to almost unlearn a lot of things that your body is used to doing to try to do something new. And, but again, whereas a kid, it's fresh, and they're also like, they're picking shit up like so fast. They're sponges, So they're forming that memory.
It does seem like for the most part, you eliminate the risk factor that you'll encounter in, any type of natural setting, where it's either wave choice or there's a nasty little sandbar and it's super low tide, or a reef or a slab. Like,
I don't know,